All right, everybody. It's my morning walk to the park. I just left the homeless shelter, and this is the way I normally go first thing in the morning when I do these videos. You guys wanted to see the walk, some of the stuff around Jamestown. You've seen me do a few videos from under that bridge up there, and when it's raining and the library's not open yet, you got some, it's a nicely kept area down here. And you see there's a few camps down here. You never know what you're gonna see when you're walking down this way, but don't look like there's anybody around this morning. And this is just the quickest way to get to the park. If you took the sidewalks and the way you're supposed to walk, it would be I would have to go around this entire complex and down across the other side, and it's kind of a pain in the ass. So here's the Mr. Burns power plant. You can pretty much see this from everywhere in Jamestown. And this is that's the National Comedy Center that you see there. They poured Jamestown basically put all their money into this thing. Lucille Ball, I guess, was involved in it. And they thought that was going to save the town. But the funny part of the National Comedy Center is it just sits there. I don't even know if people come and visit that thing anymore. But yeah, probably gave 10 people a job, and the rest of Jamestown can just rot. Let's see here. This is like a little dog walking area, I guess. But yeah, this is probably the nicest. This is the nicest park in Jamestown I've seen, in terms of generally pretty quiet, especially this early in the morning. It's about, I think it's like 20 after 8 now on a Saturday morning. So it's a little bit busier during the week, but this is where the magic happens every day when I do these videos. Not every single day for sure, but this is where I try to go. And there's a specific spot that I like to sit, and it already sounds like there's some crazy noise over at the power plant. I can already hear it from where I'm standing. And whatever they're doing over there, it'll drown out the sound of my voice. And I can see people sitting on the benches over there. Looks like a kid and his dad are fishing over there. And I can already hear. I don't know what they do at the power plant, but there's something that they do. They turn on some process or whatever, and it just creates this really loud white noise. It almost sounds like a waterfall almost. I don't know. It's probably it sounds like a steam valve hissing really loud. And so I'm probably gonna stay away from that area. But if you look over here to the right, that pathway leads to a couple of benches, and the farthest bench, that's where I normally sit. But over here, there's a couple of benches. This is like a little fishing spot that people come over here and catch their three-eyed trout. And this is probably where I'm gonna chill today to do this. Well, probably not, because it looks like there's a couple of people coming over here to fish, and I don't want to be around that. So we'll have to see what they do. But Yeah, they're coming right over here, so I'm probably, I don't know, I see another spot. If I go across this reservoir here, there's a bench over there that I might just go sit over there and do this video. Yeah, I think that's where I'm heading. So, yeah, fuck it. I'll keep recording while I walk over there. And let's see here. But yeah, it's nice and quiet this morning. It's the way I like it. I come down here. This power plant complex here is quiet. Normally during the week you hear diesel engines and trucks pulling in and out nonstop. So it's always a lot quieter on Saturday and Sunday down here at the park. And but yeah, this is probably the only part of Jamestown that I could film where it doesn't look like complete trash. It almost looks like it would be a nice place to live if this was all you saw. You got some graffiti over there on the walls, and you got some things like that, but show me a city that's not covered in tags, and well, good luck finding one of those. So let's see here. Yeah, what are we at? We're like 7 minutes. So yeah, this is the walk that I normally go on every day. Just if I keep walking in this direction, I'll end up at the main homeless camp in Jamestown. It's down past, if I follow the river basically, to the other side of this bridge, the overpass that you see there. If I keep walking just a little bit past that, you'll see the main homeless camp in Jamestown, sprawling homeless camp down there. And you'll see that. And then Tim Hortons, crazy ass Tim Hortons, is just across the street, just down the street a little bit from the homeless camp. Looks like somebody was sleeping over here or something. Sometimes this tree right up ahead, sometimes I film the videos leaned up against that tree. Looks like someone just left their stuff laying here. It's like some pajamas or something. Who knows, man? Usually you'll see tons of people sleeping in every nook and cranny of this park this time in the morning. It's pretty warm out today. Got my short sleeve shirt on. I don't have to wear a sweater today, which is kind of nice. There's like a little bit of sprinkling rain that might come through, but so I'm gonna chill over here on this bench and do today's video from here. So there you have it. The only part of Jamestown that's kind of quiet. Here you saw it. You finally got to see it. What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Adam. It's #homeless day 93, and you got to see a little bit of this is my morning routine right here, walking over to this park. This is generally where I try to set up and shoot the videos from, but there are some days where I come down here and there's no place to sit, and every single bench is taken, and a lot of times, especially during the week, it's a lot busier than what you see in this video. But it's Saturday. Saturday and Sunday is usually a lot quieter in town in general. So that's the park. That's where I come to shoot these videos, and I'm just going to jump right in. One of the things I wanted to talk about, there's a few, but I will not endorse things that I don't believe in. And this was something that I just thought of the other day. And I don't know, I really don't even, well, I do know what triggered this thought, but I'll get to it in a minute. I won't endorse things that I won't believe in. And that's why you're not going to it's why you're not going to see me sitting here in the middle of my videos and drop some bullshit. You can sign up for Squarespace and and all that kind of nonsense that you see. And I can't even count the number of people who drop a Squarespace ad in the middle of their videos. And I wouldn't use Squarespace to host a website ever, so why would I endorse that? They couldn't pay me enough to talk about that. And I'm not saying that, you shouldn't. I'm just saying that when you know what you're doing and you know how to build websites, a drag and drop website builder is not what you want to use. I did use something like that for my photography site, but that's a temporary site right now. And I don't like it. And the drag and drop, and there's a million things wrong with that site, and there's a reason why I haven't touched it and tried to improve on it since I launched it, because I have a WordPress site just sitting in a code repository waiting to be transferred to a new web host, tweaked a little bit and turned back into a live website. So I'm not gonna sink a lot of time into, I just wanted to put a place up where you could see my photography really quick, and so I did that. And you're not gonna see me sitting here talking about some magic snake oil concoction, like the colloidal silver or whatever you see a lot of these people on YouTube and these conspiracy theorists especially talking about. In fact, the only people I would push the colloidal silver on are the trolls, because if you take too much of it, it makes your skin turn purple, and I think that would be hysterical if I could get the trolls to drink a lot of that stuff. But otherwise, you're not going to hear me talk about it. But in all seriousness, I would endorse a product on this show if I believe in the product. The ads that you see before you watch the video, those come from YouTube. I have no idea whose ads show up at the beginning of these videos, and I have nothing to do with that other than right now I'm making maybe $50 a month. At some point in the future, maybe it'll cover my Adobe subscription every month. I use Photoshop, Illustrator, and Premiere almost every day. So there's an unpaid endorsement right there. I've been using that platform since I was 15 years old, and I'm 48 now. So it's what I use. And there are plenty of bugs with that software, but every single piece of software you use is riddled with bugs. So products and services, I would certainly endorse those who I believe in, especially if said companies want to pay for an endorsement. But I mean it when I say that I won't endorse something that I wouldn't use myself. So I'd even be down for doing free product reviews on this channel. But I would be totally honest about the good and the bad about said products. So, say you've got a sweet backpack that you manufacture, and you want to put to, you want me to put it to use and give you an honest review on this channel or some other product, hit me up. It's adam@litgood.com, or you can just go to the contact form at litgood.com and we could talk. I don't know why I didn't think of this already on here, but these videos are getting between 2,000 and 3,000 views a piece over a period of time after they go live. And, that's pretty good in terms of engagement. And, in a lot of ways, that's going to give you, get away from me. There's a bee flying around. That's going to give you a lot more play than doing mass mailings and things like that in terms of engagement. So I don't know if someone in the audience has a hook for somebody over at the Keen Company for some hiking boots. Just let them know that I take the Keen Durand 2 in size 10 wide right now. Sometimes I'll do a 9.5 wide, but lately I need more space for my toes. And I burned up a pair of Keen boots in 3 months being homeless, but right now they're still the best hiking boots I've ever worn. So if someone wants to get me a pair of hiking boots that will outlast them and put them to the test walking 25 to 50 miles a week on pavement, and see how they hold up, I'm your guy. At least for now. That could change when I go to Texas. Who knows? But anyway, something I want to talk about. I did send out another round of the emails for the photography deal. And once again, I got a story about some garbage software because I noticed something right away when I sent it out to the people yesterday. I sent an email out yesterday. It was the same one I sent 2 days before. And I specifically set the settings for this mass email to not send it to anybody who already received a message from me for the same thing in the last 72 hours. And then the email landed in my email box, my personal email that I'm testing this with. And that was one of the email accounts that received the email in the last 72 hours. In fact, it was less than 48 hours. So I'm a little angry that, once again, I've been foiled by some garbage software that doesn't work the way it's supposed to. So I'm assuming that everybody on the mailing list got the second email yesterday, even though the intended audience was supposed to be only the new subscribers who signed up for the mailing list after I sent the first email out. Because I don't want to be spamming people. And so, my bad. I apologize if that dropped into your mailbox twice and it's starting to get annoying. But I set the settings to not send this email to anybody who had been contacted in the last 72 hours. And so anybody who received that first email should have never got the second one, but the software platform just completely ignored my settings. And I double, triple, quadruple checked those settings. And even on the final screen before I hit the send button, it said specifically that it would not be sending the email to anybody who already received a message in the last 48 hours. So, I don't know. I'm going to have to approach this a little bit differently because, once again, garbage software doesn't perform the way it's supposed to. It's the story of my life. It's the story of all our lives right now. The software is just, it's almost like they put these settings in place, but there's no behind the scenes code. It's just a user interface. It's just showing you that there's a setting, but when you set it, it does nothing. So if you did get that email twice, let me know in the comments. I'm just trying to gauge how many people got that thing twice, and I'm just going to try and have to figure out another workaround because, once again, the software doesn't work the way it's supposed to. The more information I can gather about what's going on, the better I can anticipate those things. And, it's just another example of why every time I run into something like this, it's another example of why I would really rather be spending my time helping people who can use help growing their business than helping these garbage software companies continue to pump out trash to their customers. I hate that. I've always hated working for software companies. It pays really well. But it's a struggle on both ends because you're churning out garbage that people hate, but the company leadership's breathing down your neck to pump out trash because they don't want to invest in something nice. And that's the bottom line. The bottom line is these leaders at these companies do not want to pay people to fix what's wrong with their software because the way they look at it, well, people are already paying for it, so why do we need to fix it? And I just don't like that attitude. That's why I got into photography in the first place, because I needed a place to have a creative outlet and to be able to work on something that I could control. And I don't have somebody breathing down my neck telling me to rush some piece of shit out the door before it's ready to go out the door. And so I control the quality of all of that. And that's why when you look at the photographs, they're nice. Because I'm pretty selective, and I don't just pull the curtain back on a photograph until I get it to where I feel like I want to show it to people. And if you buy a print, I want to know that when you look up close at that print, you're not going to see garbage. You're not going to see bad editing. You're not going to see, I look at these things up close. I fix things I down to the edge of the photograph. Anything that's a distraction on the edge of the photograph, like some random twig sticking into the scene or something like that, I'll clean it up. But anyway, this company, the email platform, they do not even have a way for me to email support or tell anybody about the bugs in their platform because I have a free account. They only answer emails and only take support emails, and that you can only contact support if you're a paid customer. So and all that really means is I have the billing system for this email platform is based on the number of people who subscribe to you. And so my number of subscribers is still lower than what I would need in order to get a bill from them. But it also means that they don't care about the bugs in their system. They don't even want to hear about them unless you paid them. And that's just a bunch of crap right there, because they're basically telling you that they don't care about you ever becoming a paid subscriber. If I'm using this platform as a free user until I build up my mailing list to the point where it reaches the threshold to where they'll start billing me for it, wouldn't it make sense to have a happy user who's willing to pay for the software than to piss that person off so that I'm going to leave the platform and go find a different platform before I get to the point where I have to pay them? Because they don't even want to listen to me when I point out, hey, I set this thing to not send a message to anybody who had already received a message in the last 48 hours, and your system completely ignored that setting and sent it to everybody on my list. But when you look at it from the perspective of part of their billing process is the number of emails that get sent, well, if I had 10,000 people on a mailing list and I hit that send button and I wanted to exclude 5,000 people from receiving that email, but they go and send the email to all 10,000 people on the subscription list anyway, well, that's 5,000 emails that they get to bill me for that I didn't want to even have sent in the first place. And then I'm going to have to call them and argue with them about that. And how many people are going to bother doing that with a faceless company that doesn't give a shit about you? So I'm not at the point where I'm going to throw in the towel and get rid of this platform yet, because overall, other than that bug, the system works pretty good. But that's a major bug when you specify an email segment of your list to not receive an email, and then the system just sends the email to your entire list regardless of the setting. So I sent an email to their sales address, which is the only email address which you can find on their website. But I already know they have automated tools that will reject anything that seems like a support-related email, and a human being's never going to read the email I sent anyway. But that behavior just pisses me off to no end with these software companies nowadays. Companies like Google, where there's no phone number or a human being you can talk to when something goes wrong. Who the fuck do you people think you are? Really? Like, you're too good for the room? Like, and it's because these companies like Google, they have a monopoly, so they can do whatever they want, and they can shit all over you and treat you however bad you want because there's nowhere else to go. The cable company where I used to live out in Mercer, PA, Armstrong Cable, it's the only broadband internet you can get. So they charge you double. I had to pay twice as much out there to have internet at my house than I had to pay in Pittsburgh, because Pittsburgh has multiple options for broadband. So out in the country, you pay twice as much because you have a monopoly. The cable company is a monopoly, at least until Starlink and some of these other options get off the ground better. And they don't care. When you call them and complain if something goes wrong, they do not care. They do not care. They treat you like garbage on the phone. And because what are you going to do? If you tell them, well, I'm going to cancel my account if you don't treat me like a valued customer, and they're just going to say, fuck you. Who cares? Good luck. Because they know that you have no other option. So they don't care. They do not care. I try to avoid dealing with companies like this whenever I can. And as far as marketing, as far as email marketing platforms, there are plenty of them out there. There are tons of them. There's 100 of them to pick from. But I also know that every software company in existence right now is a complete shit show. So you're basically trading a bowl of dog turds to get a bowl of cat shit. And at the end of the day, sometimes you just have to deal with the turds you're given and put up with the smell. So, once again, I deal with so many horrible software bugs every day of my life that if you ever think I would sit inside of a self-driving car while it crashes me into a brick wall or drives me off a cliff because some dipshit, pronoun-riddled idiot at some tech company fucked up the code that drives the car, that's never going to happen. It's never going to happen. I won't even drive a car that's not a stick shift anymore. I mean, I did have one vehicle that was an automatic because I bought the vehicle for the specific purpose of going on cross-country drives. And it was nice to just kick back on cruise control on the highway and just relax while I'm driving. But other than that, stick shift. Manual windows, manual locks on the doors. I don't want an electronic riddled car that is just going to give me problems. But, I mean, I don't even want to share the road with these robot vehicles, to be honest. But when I look at, when I make that statement, based on how some humans drive on the highways these days, the robots probably aren't much worse. And so I'll at least share the road with a robot car. But in either case, I'm driving myself anywhere I gotta go once I have the money to get another vehicle. That's for sure. I'm not getting in a robot car. I will walk. I will walk way before I ever get in a robot car. So yesterday I had these government appointments, and you could tell that I get like really worked up about them. And yesterday, honestly, everything went fine. The job search appointment went fine. I got to speak to one of the nicer ladies, and she was really nice to me. I told her the progress that I had made over the week and the things that didn't happen and the things that happened. She approved my paperwork and sent me on my way. And the funny thing is, I saw her tell the guy in front of me that he didn't do enough this week for his job search and that he would have to call and talk to his caseworker because he was on track to lose his benefits if he didn't work this out with his caseworker. So I was like, wow. So turning in a sheet that says you filled out 2 job applications, one at McDonald's and one at Taco Bell, and it took you 20 hours to do it, I guess that doesn't fly anymore with them. At least not with this lady. But she was really nice with me. My second appointment went fine. It actually went very well. It was another caseworker at the homeless shelter, and everybody at the shelter, they wanted me to know that they're really supportive of me and they appreciate the fact that I never give them any problems and that they can see that I'm doing whatever I can to get out of the situation, and they understand how hard the situation is. And, a lot of these people are Democrats, and they think that it's completely wrong how I got railroaded by this Democrat, out of control, communist piece of shit government. And, they're just astonished, and they're like, honestly, they might even be voting for Trump, partly because of what they saw happen to me. Because you look at this, and you're like, it's not going to be long before all of us are going through what he's going through because I posted a meme or who knows what at this point. The United States has already thrown a guy in prison over posting a meme. They threw me in prison for posting threats online. They killed another guy for a tweet. He posted on Twitter. He was in Utah. Posted on Twitter, Joe Biden's coming to town. Get your sniper rifles ready. And the FBI showed up at his house and killed him, and nobody knows why. The FBI hasn't talked about that because 3 days after something happens in the news, everybody in America forgets about it, and they don't have to explain themselves anymore. Look at what happened when they shot Donald Trump in the head. 3 days later, they're sitting there telling you it didn't happen. So Google's already scrubbed it from the search results. Alexa, Bing, all the search engines, all these AI platforms, they're just like, what? It didn't happen. What are you talking about? There was no assassination attempt. Are you crazy? You must be a conspiracy theorist if you believe that. But, generally people are seeing through this fucking bullshit, and they're not tolerating it to the point where they're going to go vote for Donald Trump, but they're still going to steal the election, and you're going to end up with this communist retard, Commie Kamala, You're going to see her, with her cackling hyena laugh, unable to put a coherent sentence together. She's going to be your next president. Unless they switch her out at the Democrat convention next week. We'll see what happens. There could be some more shenanigans there. Either way, you're not going to get somebody in the White House in November or January when they take over. You're not going to get anybody that you actually voted for. Nobody voted for this bitch. She couldn't even get 1% of the vote in the Democratic primary, and she was the first candidate to drop out, and now she's the presumptive nominee for President of the United States. You got to be out of your fucking mind. And you blind idiots who support that and who are going along with it. And like there was a person in Jamestown whose house I walked past. They had all these Joe Biden flags out front. And then like a week later, I walked by that house again, and there was all these Kamala Harris flags hanging out front. And so I really do hope that at the DNC next week that they kick her out and they put somebody else in place, because I'm going to walk past this house in Jamestown and this idiot's going to have a bunch of new candidate flags hanging out front, and this person will have had to have spent at least $400 on flags for idiots to hang out in front of their house because they keep changing the candidate on them all the time. And none of these candidates any of you voted for in the first place, so why are you supporting it? Why are you just cool with the fact that they said, here's your candidate, you don't get to vote for it, you don't get a say in this at all, here's your candidate, shut the fuck up, get out of my face. That's the Democrat Party right there. You didn't vote for any of that shit, and yet there's so many of you out there running around with your Kamala shirts on because you were just told that's who you're voting for. Like, you're a bunch of fucking retards. But wow, I'm supposed to be talking about my appointments here. So social services turning back around here. My third appointment with them, the one I was actually dreading, it went way better than I ever expected. It was totally unexpected the way that went. I told them how I had found all the apartments in Jamestown. None of the landlords will give me the time of day because I don't have a job. And the woman looked at me and she goes, yeah, we know. She's like, don't worry about it. We know there's no place to rent around here. We know that the jobs are scarce. She tells me, if you had a job right now and you had income coming in, we would be holding you to a higher standard, and we would want you to be, actively looking for a place to live and being proactive about it. But she says, we understand that in your situation, that's going to be pretty close to impossible. And, then we talked about my potential move to Texas, and she even offered to get me a bus ticket if I need one. like, oh, well, we'll help you get right out of here if you need it. But, I don't really think I do. But at the end of the day, they were super friendly. And they said that they totally understand where I'm coming from. I haven't done anything wrong. They're going to check back with me next month to see if I'm still floundering around looking for a job, see if I got approved to go to Texas and all of that. They told me what to do if I do get approved to go to Texas to make everything smooth, transitioning from here to there. And everything went smooth. And I'm not kidding that when I say that when I walked out of that third appointment, my stress level dropped by like 100 points instantly when all that was over with. I mean, the stress honestly, the stress dropped down to the point where I'm not even stressed out about waiting around for Texas anymore. It's just there. It's something, it's in the back of my mind. It's something I'm not, I'm thinking about it. But just, I don't know, whatever anticipation I had about this social services meeting yesterday, the three of them, but the third one in particular, once they turned around and were super friendly with me and understanding and agreed with my stance on the issue that I'm not going to find an apartment until I have a job, and they totally agreed with that, and they agreed with me that there aren't any places to rent. They're like, just do the best you can, is what they told me. And so that was nice. And that I walked out of that so relaxed. I just chilled out for the afternoon. I was really relaxed. And honestly, once again, I'm more relaxed in the afternoon than I am in the mornings. If I compare the videos that I shoot in the afternoons versus the videos that I shoot in the mornings, you'd see a big difference. I see a big difference if I look at them, in my demeanor and everything. But unfortunately, the mornings are the best time for me to shoot these videos, schedule-wise, because that gives me more time to do things during the day. Because I can get these videos out of the way before the library opens. And, if I can do that in the morning, I got a head start on my day, and I don't have to take an hour or two out of the middle of the day to do these videos. So, lately I wake up with all these thoughts about whatever it is that I'm facing and the challenges ahead, but by the end of the day, I'm usually feeling like I got something accomplished, and I get too tired to be irritated anymore. And once again, I'm training myself to not expect the worst in all these situations. And so yesterday was just another example of, my tendency to expect the worst was once again unfounded. And that experience will only help me the next time I start going through that same process of expecting the worst. In fact, the only situation that I've been in where my expectations of the worst thing happening were founded and did happen were when living with my ex-girlfriend. 2 days. Only 2 days after being released from prison, or 2 days after getting to that apartment with her, I told 3 people that I think she's going to throw me out of the apartment into the street. And all 3 of the people that I said that to, they said back to me, they're like, "Come on, Adam, she's not that much of an asshole. I think you're overthinking this." But I knew better. My gut was telling me this is bad, bad, bad. 2 days in. I mean, when I sat down in the car at the bus terminal when she came to get me after getting released from prison, it was instantaneous. As soon as my butt hit the seat of the car, it was instantaneous. She started screaming at me at the top of her lungs about what a piece of shit I am and go fuck yourself, you fucking scumbag, and all this other insane shit. And the only things I said back to her was that I'm sorry, I missed you, and that I loved her. And that was it. Those are the only things I was saying back to her. But at some point in the hour-and-a-half trip from Buffalo to Jamestown, she literally pulled over to the side of the road screaming at me, "Get the fuck out of my fucking car, you fucking piece of shit. Go fuck yourself. I fucking hate you. Get the fuck out. I'm going to leave you right here on the fucking side of the road, you fucking piece of shit." And that was my welcome home from prison. That was what I came home to on the very first day. The very first day I came home from prison, that's what I came home to. The very first day. Well, that was after getting stranded in Connecticut with no phone, no wallet, no ID, no money, having to spend another 6 hours at a train station in Manhattan across from Madison Square Garden. It's called the Moynihan train station. There are videos about that train station on YouTube, specifically talking about how it's hostile to homeless people because there's no place to sit in the place is the size of a shopping mall, and there's literally not one place to sit except for the floor. Well, if you buy a Starbucks coffee, you can go sit in this elaborate upscale food court. So I had to do that. I had to buy a couple of things from Starbucks. So I'm sitting in this upscale food court drinking a Starbucks, wearing my prison clothes in an upscale bar and restaurant full of pretentious upscale New York City snobs who just walked, out of Madison Square Garden, all looking at me like they know I'm a guy who just got out of prison. But that was my welcome home party. Getting screamed at and called a piece of shit for 2 hours straight, followed by getting called a piece of shit every day and getting screamed at for 6 weeks straight before getting tossed out into the street to be homeless. That was my welcome home party from prison. So, like I said, 2 days after getting out of prison, I told everybody that I was talking to, my friends that popped up out of the woodwork as soon as I came online, that this woman was going to throw me out into the street, and I just had a bad feeling about it. Within 2 weeks of me being home, she was threatening to have my probation officer throw me back in prison if I didn't beg my friend in Texas to let me come live with him. But by then he had already volunteered to let me do that before she even threatened me. And, people still didn't believe that she was that much of a piece of trash who would just throw me out into the street. But I knew better. I was the one living it. I was the one living it every day. And I knew she couldn't wait to do it. She was looking for a reason to justify being such a piece of trash in her own mind so that she wouldn't have a guilt trip about it at some point. And then the day came and I was proven right. But ever since that day, every time I'm walking around, I'm expecting the worst in every situation now. And ever since that day that I got thrown out into the street, in all of these situations I come across, the worst has not materialized. But I'm only saying this because sometimes the worst does happen. And I've experienced it enough in my life. And when it does happen, the shock of that trauma, it will stick with you. And you do walk around expecting the worst from people. It's like a dog. It's like a dog who got kicked too many times in the ribs by its owner. Even if that dog finds a better home full of people who treat the dog really well, that dog's always walking around giving everybody the side eye, just waiting for the day it's going to get kicked in the ribs again. And because once a dog has been abused like that, it'll never recover from it. It's going to be like that for the rest of its life. Even if that dog never gets kicked again or abused for the rest of its life, that dog's going to be walking around like this, expecting it at every turn. And if that dog is in a room where someone acts like they might do something like that, what's that dog going to do? It's either going to run away and cower in a corner and try to get away from it all, or it's going to go into attack mode and it's going to bite somebody. I've seen this happen before. But what I'm really hoping for right now is that this fucking Star Wars trilogy, this real life Star Wars trilogy that we're all living and we're all going through, I hope it ends soon. I already blew up the Death Star. The Empire took over after they stole the election in 2020. And they came at us with the lockdowns and all this bullshit and the vaccine mandates. And I blew up the Death Star when I refused to take that shot and wear those masks. And they threw me out of my job. And all I did was turn around and get a better job. And every time they tried to shut me down, I came back at them harder, until the Empire Strikes Back, when they showed up in the middle of the night, smashed my house all to hell with a tank, and dragged me off to the Imperial prison. And now we have this crippled old emperor who shoots wet turds into his diaper instead of lightning bolts out of his hands, but is pretty much the same thing. And we're still living in that movie right now. But at some point, America is going to have to blow up the second Death Star and throw this crippled old emperor and his dirty henchmen down the reactor shaft and just blow the whole thing up, or it's not going to go away. Maybe we have to call the Ewoks and get them involved. I don't know, but this whole thing, it just reminds me of a video I saw yesterday. It was a video about the Empire Strikes Back and how they hired a different director, Irvin Kershner, instead of George Lucas. And that's part of the reason why the movie turned out so good. And they were talking specifically about the scene on Cloud City where Chewbacca's running around with C-3PO in a makeshift backpack out of a cargo net with all of his parts just jumbled up together. And they had the C-3PO dummy whose arm was supposed to wave and his head was supposed to spin, and it was all electronic, and it cost $100,000 to make this thing so that C-3PO could move his arm and wave and flounder around and turn his head from side to side and all that stuff. And as soon as they started filming the scene, the $100,000 C-3PO robot stopped working. And so the prop guy comes on the scene and he says, I think I can fix that. Give me a half hour. And so the prop guy disappears. About half an hour later, he comes back and they film the scene again. And here C-3PO's head is flopping around and his hand is waving his arm up and down. And And the scene came out great. It came out the way it was supposed to. But then the director, he notices this run of fishing line going across the set. And there's a guy standing at the other side of the set holding a fishing pole. And he's jerking the fishing pole around, and that is controlling C-3PO's hand and his arm. And it turns out they got the thing done by using a fishing pole and some fishing line. And it cost nothing. It cost them nothing to fix. And turned out the $100,000 contraption that they bought to film this scene was completely worthless in the end. So Irvin Kershner, the director, he said that, we just used improvisation. And you can't be thrown by these things. And you have to just assume that you can make it work when these things go wrong. You just have to find a way to make it work. And it's just like even Yoda said in the movie, do or do not. There is no try. So all that proves is that you can make things happen without spending a ton of money. You can use this garbage software. Every single piece of software that you use now is just full of bugs, and it barely works the way it's supposed to. Yet you can still make things happen. You don't need to spend a ton of money. And ever since I got out of prison, my whole life has been nothing but challenges like that. I don't want to spend any monthly fees while I have no monthly money coming in. So the only thing I pay for is the Adobe software suite, and that's my only expense. And the only reason I'm doing it is because to do the hack job that you need to do in order to use it for free and pirate the shit, it's not worth the time that it would take me to do and the effort that it would take me to do that. But it's possible to do. I would rather just pay for it. And that way I know it's working. And I don't have to do a hatchet job on my computer to get that to work. But everything else I've done so far, all of it, every single thing I've done since I got out of prison except for that Adobe software, I've been doing it with free software. Free software. Some of the software has paid options that I'll eventually pay for because those paid features will help me quite a bit. But right now, I'm filming The Empire Strikes Back with a C-3PO that's controlled with a fishing pole and some fishing line because I can't afford the $100,000 robot version. So, yesterday I said during the video that all the people who pop out of the woodwork because of this YouTube channel are amazing, and it just blows my mind how many people just pop up out of nowhere. And yesterday, I got an email from a random guy letting me know that he can offer me some free web hosting if I need it, in order to get some of my websites off the ground that I need to build and host myself. And, I responded to him that says, if things work out over the next couple of weeks, some of the irons in the fire, I won't need to take advantage of that because I'll be able to host the websites that I need to host without any problems. I'll probably be able to pay for a year worth of hosting in advance. But if that does not go through, maybe I'll take him up on the offer, because I really don't need a lot of web hosting power for a couple of simple websites that are just going to be static HTML sites with basic information and a simple contact form. The photography website and store might need a little bit more robust hosting plan, but I'm also not in a hurry to launch that one just yet. So, but just once again, it was really cool to have some guy randomly show up on because of yesterday's video and send me a message offering to help in that arena. I mean, it's just another sign from above to me that I was supposed to put these videos out there and start getting on YouTube and doing all this stuff. Because my original plan when I got out of prison was to live a quiet life. And this was before my ex-girlfriend was my ex. I just wanted to spend my time with her, live a quiet life, find some kind of job, put a life back together, and just disappear from society, more or less. I didn't want to be doing YouTube videos other than I thought I would do online photography and photo editing classes. That was the only thing I had thought of. that if I'm going to get back on social media, that's what I'll do. But when I was thrown out into the street to be homeless, all bets were off. All bets were off. My back is against the wall, and it's just like an animal. When you back it into a corner, it's going to lash out and it's going to come at you. And now I'm coming at the system to say, you know what they did was wrong. I'm going to come back from this. I'm going to show all these pieces of trash that they're not going to hold me down and they're not going to ruin my life. And I'm going to come back stronger and more powerful than I was when they knocked me down. And they're going to wish that they had left me the hell alone by the time it's all said and done. Believe me when I say that. But once again, it was just another sign that this guy showed up offering me some web hosting out of nowhere. He said he's a reseller for a big web hosting company, and that's even something I'm thinking about doing myself. But right now, I just want to focus on design and marketing instead of offering straight up web hosting plans and having to do all the work around that. But selling web hosting plans and reselling from a bigger web hosting company can be a lucrative business if I worked hard enough to sell it to a lot of customers. But I would not count that out as an option in a side hustle as I'm trying to build up multiple income streams here. But for me right now, it pays more to focus on my core strengths and build from there. And my core strengths are in the design and marketing and the artistic and creative side of things. So anyway, speaking of The Empire Strikes Back and the Star Wars trilogy, there was something I looked into on YouTube that I kept seeing as I published these videos, but I wasn't interested in finding out what it was until yesterday, and that's called the instant premiere. So I looked this up, and supposedly when you set a video to be instant premiere instead of just launching the video and making it go live like I normally do, according to YouTube, that it's a free and easy way to premiere your upcoming videos rather than just uploading a new video to your channel. And instant premiere lets you chat with your subscribers while they watch your latest upload in real time. And so it's kind of like the same thing as a live stream, but the video was pre-recorded, but it's playing as if it's a live stream, and it has the same interface as a live stream. And you can even set it to have a countdown timer. You could say, play the video in 15 minutes to give people time to join the party. And then it becomes like a real-time chat party while you're watching the video in real time. And so, it says when you choose to create a premiere for your video, YouTube will automatically create a premiere watch page that you can send your subscribers to. And this page will feature a countdown clock that shows your video when it hits 0. And so I thought that was pretty cool, and that might be something, I don't know, let me know in the comments if you think that would be a cool thing, because I know that you people are watching from all over the world, from all different time zones and everything, but I'm not going to do a live stream right now because that's just too much of a pain. But, and my internet connection is not strong enough to support that. But as in terms of launching the video as if it were live, as a pre-recorded premiere where everybody can log in and get into a chat room together and just kind of talk, instead of having to do it in the comments below the video, I thought that would be pretty cool. So maybe I'll do that in the next week or so. And if I do it, I'll announce that I'm going to do it the day before I do it. So in one of the videos, I'll just say right up front in the beginning of the video that tomorrow's video will be a instant premiere or a premiere, online premiere, whatever we call it. And you'll be able to jump in, watch the video, and chat with all the other viewers in real time. So, so that's that for YouTube. In terms of TikTok, man, TikTok is very unpredictable. For a while, my videos were getting a few hundred views. Then it dropped down to about 20 views at the most. Then it jumped back up to getting 600 to 700 views on a video. And then a couple of days ago, the views dropped down to just one view. One view. I got 700 views one day on a video. The next day, my video got one view. And then the day after that, the video got 4 views. So I don't have any idea what's going on over at TikTok. And to be honest, if you watch these videos on TikTok, you already know that I just do not care about TikTok at all. It's not that I don't care about you, the people, it's that I just think the platform is a piece of trash and I can't interact with any of you. The whole thing is a total shit show from the second I log in to the second I leave. That whole thing is just nothing but trash. I don't understand how I don't understand how that platform got so popular being such a piece of garbage that it is. So come on over to YouTube, where I do respond to people and we do have these interactions and we do talk to each other throughout the day. Come on over. The party's hopping over here on YouTube. And at Tim Hortons yesterday, I went over there after my appointments were done because I need to get to the other side of town on Friday afternoons because I don't want to have any chance that I'm going to come into contact with my rotten ex. There's no way I could keep my mouth shut if I ever run into her face to face out on the street, and I'd much rather put 1,000 miles distance between me and this town just for that reason alone, aside from the fact that Jamestown's the worst place I've ever been in my life. So after my appointments, I went over to Crazy Tim Hortons, right in the middle of the biggest homeless camp in town, knowing that she'll never set foot over in that part of town. And, but while I was waiting for my iced coffee, I could count about 50 or 60 flies crawling around the electronic billboard above the cash register. But before I even walked in the building, I made sure the Wi-Fi was working. And, the only thing you can get at Tim Hortons is an iced coffee or a drink with a secure lid, because there's more flies flying around Tim Hortons right now than the landfill. And oh man, I even left them a comment on Google Maps about it because I'm so sick and tired of the flies there. But my options for where I can sit and use Wi-Fi are so severely limited here. There's really nowhere to go. But there are things to be thankful for nonetheless. I'm thankful that I'm not in prison. Being homeless on the streets of this rotten town is better than prison. Not a whole lot better, but it's better. I'm thankful for the equipment that I have. I'm thankful for this YouTube channel and the possibilities and all the random people that I talk to because of this channel is awesome. All the people that I'm meeting because of this channel, it totally made it worth it. Thankful that I haven't gone hungry since I became homeless, and all those things. And so the plugs, I'm just going to say sign up for the mailing list, the email list. If you didn't unsubscribe already, free.litgood.com. I'm going to try to send out another email to you guys, but I got to try I don't want to keep spamming people with the same email over and over again. So anybody who signs up after yesterday's email blast, I got to figure out a way to segment you out so that you're the only ones getting the emails. But sign up for that if you want to get a deal on some photography. There's a good deal going on right now, but you have to be on that mailing list to get it. And if you just want to check out some photography, the store is at litgood.com. And if I'm going to plug the virtual chicken bucket, which is at donate.litgood.com if you want to drop a couple of bones in there. And I think at this point, I'm just going to end the video. I think we've spent a good amount of time, and the sun is really starting to get in my eyes. It was overcast and cloudy when I started this video today, so I'm going to end this video. I'm going to go over to Crazy Tim Hortons, I guess, because I don't know, either there or the library, I'm not sure. I'm going to get some stuff done. This is the usual, same. Every day is pretty much the exact same thing except for Sunday when I go to church. And so I hope y'all are able to get accomplished whatever you want to get accomplished today. And I hope everything goes your way, and whatever challenges you're going through, I really hope that God comes through and helps you find a way out of that mess. And unless something goes terribly wrong today, we'll talk again tomorrow. Peace out.